You want to talk about Garrett Dellinger?
I'd love to, actually. Some positive things to talk about here on the show. Of course, they add a top offensive tackle from the state of Michigan, as we mentioned yesterday. Not their first time to go into Michigan and get an offensive lineman. Joseph Barksdale, who started as a defensive lineman but obviously finished as an offensive lineman. Anthony Bradford, who's looking like he's going to be the starting right guard for this team. And so they're, creating, and I know Joseph Barksdale was a long time ago, but, with back-to-back years, got a little bit of a pipeline into the state of Michigan. 6'6", 270 pounds from Clarkson, Michigan. He's actually the number 6 tackle on ESPN.com, the 32nd player overall, the number 2 player in the state of Michigan, a little bit down in 247, 12 as far as offensive tackles, 79th overall, and the number 5 player in the state of Michigan. Still, though, any way you look at it, great prospect and a position of need for LSU. We've talked about the quarterbacks and the receivers in this class. Everything looks great. You wanted some beef. You needed some guys up front. Last year was a defensive line recruiting class. You feel so good about that depth there. Defensive tackle, we've talked about that, Hunt. But you needed a can't-miss offensive line prospect. You got Doomerville this year. You feel good about him, but you need to keep stacking those guys one after another each and every year. They're not done on the offensive line front either. So to go into the state of Michigan to steal someone away from Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State, great job by LSU and James Craig to get him to commit to LSU. Even though we expected this to come, to still hear it and to see his 7-minute video where he commits to LSU, it's a big get.
Huge get. And I think, I would equate offensive line recruiting similarly in a way to basketball recruiting. It's easier to find a 6'2", 6'3" guy who can get in there and play guard than it is to find a 6'6", 6'7" guy with long arms and is athletic that can play tackle. Similarly, in basketball, it's easier to find a 6'2" guard that can score than it is to find a 6'9" shot blocker because there are more of the 6'2" variety than there are of the 6'6", 6'7" variety. It's just the way it is. So when you can find tackle prospects like this, it's huge to land them. And so this is a position of need, like you said. It's a great guy to have in the class. And once again, it's LSU showing that national brand.
Yep.
It's huge right now. And even though we've shut down and you can't visit and we can't do as much as you'd like, they're still capitalizing on the power of that brand right now, and that's obvious. And you showed my favorite thing when you look at a commitment. All right, who else thought he was good?
Right.
Pretty good. Alabama, their offensive lines have been pretty good. Ohio State, they do okay in the Midwest. Wisconsin offer was huge to me.
Yep.
Who evaluates them better than those guys? And obviously you're right there in Michigan as well. So I thought just an absolutely great job by the staff, a huge get, position of need, great player. Just nothing negative to say about this. This is a home run.
I like the plan for this class. I don't think they're rushing things, and that's something that I think is important because you're the top dog, right? You're the coolest name in college football right now. You don't have to rush. You don't have to take every commitment. You can pick and choose who you get in this class. And I know sometimes you got to be careful there because you don't want to wait too late and not have a full class and all the things that happen there. But, a year ago, there was a lot of guys who committed early who didn't end up signing with LSU that were from far away, right? They weren't from Louisiana. And I think in this class, they know, okay, we've got the momentum. We are going to recruit who we want to recruit. We're going to slow play it a little bit. And because there's still a ton of top names that are uncommitted out there. I mean, in the top 10, I think only actually 2 guys are committed to a school. So there's a lot of prospects that are still out there that have not committed to a school. And so I like the approach of we're going to make sure we get the right guys in positions of need and fill our roster the way that we want to fill it, and not just take commits just to take them.
For sure. And that's the approach the staff is taking. And I think the other piece of this that we haven't quite gotten around to is if you're going to run this offense where you're going to be in the shotgun and you're going to spread the field and you're going to throw the football more often than you have in the last, than ever, really, you've got to have elite tackle play to make that happen. If you don't, the whole thing craters. So you've got to recruit guys that can handle that position. And, you think that Dare Rosenthal is growing into his ability to play that position. As you mentioned, you think Doomerville is a guy that can be really good. This is a huge one in Dellinger. You hope to add 1 or 2 more in this class. If you continue to get big-time tackles and you can keep these quarterbacks that we've been talking about for 3 weeks upright with these wide receivers that are running around, that works.
Absolutely. And look, the offense and the key point to this offense is get the ball out of your hands quickly. I understand that, but that's not going to happen every time. One of the things that won Joe Burrow the Heisman a year ago in a landslide was his ability in the pocket to escape and continue to make plays down the field even when he did have pressure. So I agree 1,000% with you. You need that offensive line play, but I'm not going to hate on LSU either for going out there and getting 4 top-tier receivers probably in this class, because you're going to have 3 or 4 receivers on the field every single play. Every play last year, LSU had, at least 3 receivers out there. So you're going to have, many more opportunities to be on the field if you're a receiver. It's no longer the days where it was only, Malachi Dupree was the only receiver out there on the field, and 7 other guys had to wait their turn behind him because he was the only receiver out in the route. That's not the case anymore, right?
Ruben Randall.
No more DJ Chark by himself out there.
Just running.
Right, so go ahead and stockpile on those receivers. I'm not going to hate on you having a surplus of those guys. Right now, LSU, is the leader in the number 7 receiver in the country, the number 8 receiver in the country. They've got commitments from the number 13 and 14 receivers in the country. I am going to be A-okay with that. And so don't freak out when you see, because you and I have mentioned so many times in this recruiting class, Louisiana's got a ton of top-tier receivers, and you're going to, for the most part, get your pick of which 2 you want. It looks like LSU's going to get the top 2, which is important. And they've also gone into Texas and Mississippi and picked who they want in this receiving class. And so, again, I know you're going to sign a lot of them. You say, hey, we got this many on the roster. Don't we need this other position? But with the offensive change, you're going to need 8 top-tier receivers you feel good about every year, it feels like.
JoJo Earl is going to be so fun to watch. I mean, that's, usually you don't target 5'9" receivers, but this guy. And you got some in-state guys with some size, elite athleticism, but JoJo Earl's got a little Skylar Green in him, and I'm here for that.
Pre-injury.
Right.
Yeah. Because if Skylar doesn't hurt his ankle, who knows what Skylar Green could have been. He already showed it, early in his career.
Well, he went back. We're up like 97 points on Arizona out there on TBS on a 9 o'clock tip-off.
Woo.
It's Arizona. 9 o'clock kickoff. Arizona, they would rather tip it off than kick it off.
You're right.
But, and we were up like 1 million, and Saban put Skylar back there to run a punt back, and he ran it back for a touchdown and then was the punt returner for the rest of his career.
Yeah, he was such a solid player. Mentioning the receivers that LSU is targeting, Chris Hilton from Zachary, local product, and of course Brian Thomas from Walker. But I've called games for Zachary. I called their state championship game, I believe it was 2 years ago, against West Monroe, and it looked like they were just down and out. I mean, West Monroe, we all know, is a power. I mean, he takes a slip screen and goes 80, and it was one of the most impressive plays I've seen in a high school football game in a key moment like that. And he was a young pup. He was a sophomore at the time, and really before that.
What are his measurables now? 6'4"?
They got him at 5. No. He's 5'11" and a half, $170, but he's a leaper.
So the other one is the 6.
Brian Thomas is 6'4", 185.
Yeah, okay.
So a bunch of different body types, a bunch of different skill sets as well. So that's another key component to this receiver class. Not everybody. There for a long time, LSU receivers seemed like they were 6'4", 6'5", 195, 200 pounds, and were just leapers. You want route runners and leapers. You want to have that combination of guys. You want to have guys that can go out there and route somebody up as well.
Yeah, I think the route running thing is the key, because that's what Jefferson and Chase are so good at that nobody could deal with. I mean, Marshall's a good route runner, but you saw a lot of his jump balls as well for him that he's so good at. But I love those technicians in there that you just can't cover.